Together, we're gonna crochet a tiny little Santa. I'll be including the free pattern here on the screen, but if you prefer to follow a written pattern, I will be selling the PDF version of the pattern on my Etsy store. So if you're interested, I will have that linked in the description down below. But that's all I have for the intro, so now let's crochet. This is a no-sew pattern, so we're gonna be continuously crocheting from top to bottom with absolutely no sewing required. So we're gonna start with the pom-pom and then work our way down. And before completing the decrease, I'm going to take my red yarn and I am going to switch to the color red and complete this decrease with red yarn so that I can start the next round, so round 5, in the color red. So before doing anything else, I'm just going to cut my white yarn since I've now switched over to red. And now I'm gonna be working the next several rounds in the color red. So round 5 is gonna feel a little awkward to do since there are very little stitches in this round. We are going to be doing 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, a total of 2 times to bring our stitch count down to 4, which is what makes it so hard to work with because 4 stitches in the round is very little. So my next stitch is a decrease. And as you can see, it's definitely a little awkward to do because this round is so small. Also, I am doing invisible decreases, which is when you just increase into the front loop only when doing a decrease. It just makes it look a little bit more invisible. But it's not necessary, it's just, you know, personal preference. Okay, gonna do the rest off camera. So the pom-pom is officially complete. This is what it looks like. And now I'm just gonna be working the rest of the hat. And we're gonna stuff the pom-pom later on once we've completed the hat. So we're just gonna leave it for now. And I'm going to work most of the hat off camera, at least the red part of the hat. Also, don't forget to tie your loose ends. I'm currently working on the last stitch of round 15, and before completing the stitch, I am going to take my white yarn and switch to the color white and complete the last stitch of round 15 with white yarn. Now that I've switched to white yarn, I'm going to cut my red yarn. And now I'm going to start round 16, and round 16 will be in the color white. So in this round, we're gonna be doing a total of 6 increases instead of the usual 4 increases that we were doing in the previous rounds. So in round 16, we're crocheting 3 single crochet, 1 increase, a total of 6 times in the round to bring our stitch count up to 30. I just finished round 16, and in the next round, we're gonna be creating the little frill along the rim of the hat. So just this little frill right here. So before I do that, I'm going to take out my stitch marker, and I'm gonna place my stitch marker in the back loop only of the first stitch of the round, just like this. And we're gonna be working round 17 a total of 2 times, once in the front loop only and once in the back loop only. So this frill that we're about to crochet will be crocheted in the front loop only. So I'm gonna insert my hook into the front loop only of the first stitch in the round, and I'm gonna slip stitch. So for round 17, front loop only, we're gonna be crocheting 1 slip stitch and then chain 1, a total of 29 times, and then we're gonna finish off with a single slip stitch. So I've already crocheted my first slip stitch, so now I'm going to chain 1, and now I'm going to insert into the front loop only of the next stitch and slip stitch. And now I'm going to chain 1, insert into the front loop only of the next stitch, and slip stitch, chain 1, and then insert into the front loop only of the next stitch, and so on and so on. So we're gonna be doing this a total of 29 times, and then we're finishing off with a single slip stitch at the end of the round. Okay, so I just finished doing a slip stitch and chain 1 stitch a total of 29 times. And now I'm just gonna finish off with an additional slip stitch into the front loop only of the next stitch. My goodness. And now I'm going to cut my white yarn and fasten off. So this is what the hat looks like. And next, into the front loop only of round 17, in skin tone yarn, we're gonna be crocheting the first round of the head. But before we do that, we're gonna put this hat aside and we're gonna make both of our arms and both of our ears before continuing on to the head of the Santa. So I already made my first arm, and now I'm going to make my second arm on camera. I just finished round 3 of the arm, and for round 4, we're gonna be crocheting the opening closed with a total of 3 single crochet stitches. So I'm gonna insert into the next stitch, and then I'm going to insert into the stitch right across from it, which is kind of hard to see, but this stitch right here. So my hook is currently inserted into 2 stitches right across from each other, and I'm going to hook my yarn and crochet my first single crochet stitch out of the 3. And now I'm going to insert into the next stitch and into the stitch right across from it. And now I'm going to crochet my second single crochet stitch out of the 3. And now I'm going to insert into the next stitch and into the stitch right across from it. Just looks like that. It almost looks like we're just inserting into 1 stitch right here. And now I'm going to crochet the 3rd single crochet out of the 3. And now I'm going to cut my yarn and fasten off. And that's what the arm looks like. So at the top of the arm, we have a total of 3 single crochet stitches, which will make it a lot easier for us to crochet the arm into the round when working the body later on. So now I have my 2 arms completed. I'm going to put them on the side here. And before I get started on Santa's head, I'm going to just quickly make the 2 ears, which are super, super easy. We're just going to make a slip knot and crochet 1 chain, cut the yarn, and fasten off. And that's all we have to do for the ear. And it's important to leave a long starting tail and a long end tail, because we're going to be using these 2 tail yarns right here later on to tie the ear onto the head rather than sewing it. I just finished making my 2nd ear, and now that I have both ears and both arms completed, I'm going to put these aside and I'm going to bring up the hat, and now we're going to start working Santa's head. I'm going to take my skin tone yarn and make a slip knot, place it on my hook, and now I'm going to insert my hook into the back loop only of the first stitch of round 17. And now we're going to be working in the back loop only of every stitch in round 17. So we're mostly going to be using skin tone yarn for this round, but we're also going to be doing a few color changes as well to start working the beard. I just want to quickly show you what it looks like to insert into the back loop only. So this round is pretty simple. We're just crocheting 1 single crochet stitch into the back loop only of every stitch in the round. And then we're going to be doing a few color changes. But aside from that, it's pretty straightforward. So this is my 8th single crochet stitch in the skin tone yarn, and before completing it, I'm going to pull up my white yarn and loop it onto my hook and complete the 8th single crochet stitch with my white yarn. Doing the color change this way makes it so this 8th single crochet stitch that I just completed with white yarn will still look beige, but now since my loop is in the white yarn, my next stitch will be done in the color white, but the stitch that we just completed is still gonna look beige. So now I just have to do 1 stitch in the color white. So I'm gonna insert to the back loop of the next stitch, pull up a loop, and before completing this stitch, I'm going to cut my white yarn and pull up my beige yarn that I didn't cut earlier, and I'm going to complete this stitch with the beige yarn. And now I'm just going to continue the beige yarn until I'm ready to do another color change. I just crocheted 11 single crochet stitches in my skin tone yarn, and before completing the 11th single crochet, I'm going to switch to white yarn and then do 1 stitch in the color white. And again, before completing, I'm going to cut my white yarn, pull up the beige, complete the stitch with the beige, and now finish off with 9 single crochet stitches in the skin tone yarn. So after completing round 17 in the back loop only, I'm going to insert to the next stitch and crochet my first stitch of round 18, which is a single crochet in the beige yarn. Place my stitch marker. In this round, we're going to continue crocheting 1 single crochet into each stitch in the round, except for 2 popcorn stitches, and I will show you how to do that once I get there. So we start by crocheting 8 single crochet stitches in the skin tone yarn. I'm just going to switch to the color white halfway through the 8th single crochet in beige. So now I'm switched over to the color white, and for the next stitch, we're going to be doing the 2 single crochet popcorn stitch. So what we're going to do for this stitch is we're going to crochet a total of 2 single crochet stitches into 1 stitch. And before completing the 2nd single crochet, I'm going to cut my white yarn and pull up my skin tone yarn that I didn't previously cut. And now I'm going to complete the second white single crochet stitch with my skin tone yarn. To complete the 2 single crochet popcorn stitch, I'm going to take our hook out of the last stitch in the popcorn stitch. We're going to insert into the top of the first stitch in the popcorn stitch and then into the loop of the last stitch in the popcorn stitch. And then we're going to pull the loop of the last stitch into the top of the first stitch. And now I'm going to crochet 11 single crochet stitches in the skin tone yarn. I just finished crocheting my second 2 single crochet popcorn stitch, and now we're just going to continue to crochet 9 single crochet stitches in the skin tone yarn. I just finished round 18, and now for round 19 we're going to be doing the same thing we just did in round 18. I just finished round 19, and this is what it looks like so far. And now in round 20 we're going to start off with 9 single crochet stitches in the skin tone yarn, and then we're going to be doing a popcorn stitch. We're actually going to be doing a total of 2 popcorn stitches in this round, just like the previous rounds. But this time, the popcorn stitch is going to be made up of 3 single crochet stitches rather than 2 single crochet stitches. And I'll show you how to do that once I get to the point where I need to do the popcorn stitch. So now I'm going to complete the 9th skin tone single crochet with white yarn so that my next stitch, which is the popcorn stitch, can be in the color white. And now for the 3 single crochet popcorn stitch. So it's going to be done the same way as our 2 single crochet popcorn stitch, but this time we're going to be doing a total of 3 single crochets instead of 2 single crochets in the popcorn stitch. So I'm just inserting into this next stitch here. I'm going to start by crocheting 3 single crochet stitches. So 1, 2, and 3 single crochet stitches in 1 stitch. But before completing the 3rd single crochet stitch in white yarn, I'm going to cut my white yarn and pull up my skin tone yarn that I didn't previously cut. And I'm going to complete the 3rd single crochet with the skin tone yarn. And now I'm going to take my hook out of the loop of the last stitch in the popcorn stitch. And now I'm going to insert into the top of the first stitch in the popcorn stitch. And then into the loop of the last stitch in the popcorn stitch. And then I'm going to pull the loop of the last stitch through the top of the first stitch. And now I'm going to continue to crochet a total of 9 single crochet stitches in the skin tone yarn. And then after that, I'm going to do a second 3 single crochet popcorn stitch. I just finished crocheting my second 3 single crochet popcorn stitch, and now I'm going to finish off the round with 10 single crochet stitches in the skin tone yarn. Okay, so now I'm working on round 21. There's a lot going on in round 21. We're going to be crocheting most of the beard in this round, and we're going to be doing a few different kinds of popcorn stitches in this round, which I will be showing you how to do in just a moment here. So I'm starting by crocheting a total of 10 single crochet stitches in the skin tone yarn, and I'm just halfway through this 10th single crochet in the skin tone yarn. And before completing the stitch, I'm actually going to cut my skin tone yarn this time. I'm going to switch to white yarn and complete the 10th beige single crochet stitch with my white yarn. And now we're going to do a bunch of popcorn stitches back to back. So in the next stitch, I'm going to crochet a 3 half double crochet popcorn stitch. So I'm going to start by yarning over, and then I'm going to insert into the next stitch. And now I'm going to crochet a total of 3 half double crochets into 1 stitch. So that's 1 half double crochet, yarn over, insert into that same stitch, do a second half double crochet, yarn over, do a third half double crochet, and now I'm going to take my hook out of the loop of the last half double crochet. I'm going to insert my hook into the top of the first stitch in the popcorn stitch, and then into the loop of the last stitch in the popcorn stitch. I'm going to tighten the loop, and then I'm going to pull the loop of the last stitch through the top of the first stitch. And now I'm going to crochet a 3 double crochet popcorn stitch a total of 7 times. So I'm just going to crochet 3 double crochet popcorn stitches all along this section right here. So I'm going to show you how to do one, and then I'm going to do the rest off camera. So I'm going to yarn over, I'm going to insert into the next stitch, and I'm going to crochet a total of 3 double crochet stitches into one stitch. Yarn over, crochet my second double crochet, yarn over, crochet my third double crochet. And now to complete the popcorn stitch, I'm going to take my hook out of the loop, going to insert into the top of the first stitch of the popcorn stitch. So I'm just going to count back 3 stitches because it's a little hard to see here. So 1, 2, and 3, inserting into the top of this stitch. And then I'm inserting my hook into the loop of the last stitch in the popcorn stitch, tightening the loop, and then I'm pulling the loop of the last stitch through the top of the first stitch. And now I'm going to continue to do this kind of popcorn stitch that we just did right here 6 more times, so that we'll have a total of 7 of these 3 double crochet popcorn stitches. I just finished crocheting a total of 7 3 double crochet popcorn stitches, and this is what it looks like. And now into the next stitch, I'm going to crochet a 3 half double crochet popcorn stitch, and I'm just going to quickly do it with you guys here on camera. So yarn over, insert into the next stitch, crochet a total of 3 half double crochet stitches into one stitch. I'm halfway done my third half double crochet, and before completing the half double crochet, I'm going to cut my white yarn and finish off this half double crochet stitch with the skin tone yarn. Now I'm going to complete this 3 half double crochet popcorn stitch by inserting into the top of the first stitch in the popcorn stitch, and then into the loop of the last stitch, and pull the loop of the last stitch through the top of the first stitch. And now I'm going to finish off the round by crocheting a total of 11 single crochet stitches in the skin tone color. We have officially finished the head of our Santa. It looks so cute. But before doing anything else, I'm going to take a second to tie all of these loose ends. Yeah, just tie anything that needs to be tied into a knot so that it's nice and secure. But yeah, I'm not weaving any ends in because it's inside the amigurumi. So you can just, once they're tied into knots, I just cut them. So I'm gonna go do that off camera. I finished tying all my ends. And before continuing on to the next round, I'm just gonna do one more thing. We are going to take a moment to stuff this little pom-pom right here, because it's only gonna get harder to stuff the further along we get. So I'm just gonna flip it inside out a little bit here just so it's easier to reach the pom-pom. I'm gonna take a small amount of stuffing because we really don't need a lot for this. I'm gonna place it in here, and I'm going to take a bobby pin. I like to use a bobby pin because it'll fit through the tiny little opening of the pom-pom. So I'm just gonna stuff the stuffing as far in as possible, just so it's right up against the opening of the pom-pom. And then I'm gonna take my bobby pin and I'm just gonna stab it through the opening. Yeah, there we go, and that's it. And now the pom-pom is stuffed. So now I'm just gonna flip this back down. And now I'm going to get started on the next round, so round 22. And in this round, we're gonna be crocheting both the arms into the round. So before starting round 22, we're gonna complete the last stitch in round 21 with red yarn so that our first stitch in round 22 can be made in the color red. In this round, we are going to be, like I mentioned, we are going to be crocheting the arms into the round, but this round is also an increase round, and we're going to be doing a total of 10 increases in this round. So when following the pattern, the letter B indicates we'll only be crocheting along the body, and the letters A and B together indicate that we'll be crocheting along the body and the arm. So just along the body, we're going to crochet 2 single crochets, 1 increase, a total of 2 times in the round. I just finished crocheting the 2 single crochets, 1 increase, a total of 2 times. And next, I'm going to crochet 2 single crochets, 1 increase along both the body and the arm at the same time. So I'm going to start by inserting my hook into the first stitch right here along round 4 of the arm. And then I'm going to insert my hook into the next stitch along the body. My hook is now inserted into both the arm and the body. And now I'm going to hook my yarn and pull it through both the body and the arm. And then pull my yarn through to complete the single crochet. I'm going to insert into the next stitch along the arm. So this one right here. And then I'm going to insert my hook into the next stitch along the body. So this stitch right here. And then I'm going to hook my yarn and pull it through both the body and the arm. Then I'm going to pull my yarn through both my loops to complete the second single crochet stitch. And next we're going to crochet an increase into both the arm and the body. So I'm just going to insert my hook into the last stitch along round 4 of the arm, and then I'm going to insert my hook into the next stitch along the body, and then I'm going to hook my yarn and pull it through both the body and the arm, and then I'm going to complete the first single crochet here of the increase, and then I'm going to go in a second time through both the arm and the body, hook my yarn, pull it through, and then complete the second single crochet of the increase. And now I have crocheted the first arm into round 22, and next we're going to crochet 2 single crochets, 1 increase, a total of 3 times, and then after that we crochet 2 more single crochets and then half of an increase. And now I'm going to insert my hook into the next stitch along the body, single crochet, so 1, 2, increase. I just finished crocheting 2 single crochet, 1 increase, a total of 3 times. And now I'm going to crochet 2 more single crochets. So 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets. And now I'm going to do 1 more single crochet, which will count as half of an increase. And now I'm going to crochet the second half of this increase and then 2 more single crochets along both the body and the second arm. So I'm going to start by inserting my hook along this stitch in round 4 of the arm. And then I'm going to insert my hook into the same stitch as the previous single crochet along the body, where we're going to complete the increase with a second single crochet stitch. And now I'm going to insert into the next stitch along the arm and into the next stitch along the body and single crochet. And then I'm going to insert into the next stitch along the arm and into the next stitch along the body and crochet my second single crochet. And now the arm has been crocheted into round 22. And now along the body only, we're going to insert into the next stitch and crochet an increase. So 1, 2 into the same stitch. And now I'm going to crochet. And now we're going to crochet 2 single crochet, 1 increase, a total of 2 times. So now that I've completed round 22, we have officially finished all the complicated parts of this no-sew Santa. The rest of the Santa is pretty straightforward except for the round where we are doing the legs, but the legs are made with popcorn stitches, which we're a little familiar with now. So for rounds 23 to 24, we are going to crochet 1 single crochet into each stitch in the round, and we're going to do that in the color red. And I'm going to do this off camera because it is super straightforward. I just finished round 24, but before continuing on to round 25, I'm going to take a moment to add both of the ears as well as add the safety eyes. So I'm going to take one of the ears that we made earlier. I'm going to thread one of the ends through a darning needle, and I'm going to do Santa's right ear first. So Santa's right ear, and we're going to be placing both ears over round 19, so this round right here. And for Santa's right ear, we're going to leave 1 stitch of space between where we're placing the ear and where the beard is. So this is 1 stitch of space, and I want to place the ear over this round right here. So I'm just going to insert at the top of round 19. So I just pulled one of the ends through, and now I'm going to thread the other end of the ear through my darning needle, and now I'm going to insert this end in the stitch below where we inserted the other end. And when pulling both ends of the ear through the head, we don't want to pull too hard, because if we pull too hard, we might end up pulling part of this chain 1 that makes up the ear through the stitches of the head, and we don't want that to happen. And now we're going to flip the head inside out, and these ends right here are the tail ends of the ear that we just inserted into the head. And now I'm going to take both of these tail ends and I'm going to tie just a regular knot with the ends. Again, don't pull the knot too tightly, or else you might pull part of the ear through the stitches of the head. So we just finished adding Santa's right ear, and now we're going to add Santa's left ear. So I'm going to take my other ear here, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to weave one of the ends through a darning needle, and the left ear will also be placed over round 19. But for the left ear, we aren't going to be leaving a stitch of space between the beard and where we're placing the ear. So instead of placing it with 1 stitch of space between, like we did for the right ear, which would be right here, we're going to be adding the ear into these holes right here. So I'm going to insert into the top of round 19, thread the other end through my darning needle, and now I'm going to insert the other end into the bottom of round 19. And again, I'm going to flip it inside out to tie a knot with the ends of the ear. Now both ears have been added, and this is what they look like. And now we're going to add the safety eyes. These are the safety eyes that I'm going to be using. We're going to be placing both eyes between round 18 and round 19 with 4 stitches of space between where both the eyes are placed. And we want to make sure that our eyes are centered with the beard. And I want to flip it inside out to add the backings. And I'm just using some metal backings. And now that both eyes have been placed, we are going to move on to round 25. So for round 25, we're going to be switching to black yarn. So I'm just going to cut my red yarn, and I'm going to complete the last stitch of round 24 with black yarn so that I can start round 25 in the color black. And now for round 25, we're just going to be crocheting 1 single crochet into each stitch in the round, all in the color black. I just reached the end of round 25, and before finishing the last single crochet in round 25, I am going to cut my black yarn and switch back to red yarn to complete this single crochet so that my next round, round 26, can be in the color red. So for round 26 to round 27, we're going to be crocheting 1 single crochet into each stitch in the round, all done in the color red. Now we're about to start round 28, which is a decrease round, but we're also going to be doing 2 popcorn stitches in this round in order to create the legs. So in the color red, we're going to crochet 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, and then 3 single crochet, 1 decrease, a total of 2 times, and then 1 single crochet. And I already crocheted my first single crochet. And now I'm going to crochet 3 single crochet, 1 decrease, a total of 2 times. So 1, 2, 3, decrease. And now I'm going to do that one more time. I just finished doing it for a second time. So now I'm just going to do 1 more single crochet. And before completing this single crochet, I'm going to take my black yarn and I'm going to switch to the color black so that my next stitch, which is a 5 double crochet popcorn stitch, will be in the color black. So I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to insert into the next stitch, and I'm going to crochet a total of 5 double crochet stitches in the color black. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But before completing the 5th double crochet, I'm going to cut my black yarn and I'm going to pull up my red yarn that I previously didn't cut, and I'm going to hook this red yarn and pull it through the 2 black loops in order to switch back to the color red. And now I'm going to complete the popcorn stitch by taking my hook out of the loop, and I'm going to insert my hook into the top of the first double crochet and then into the loop of the last double crochet, and I'm going to pull the loop of the last stitch through the top of the first stitch. And by doing that, I have now created the first leg. And now in the color red, we're going to crochet 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, 3 single crochet, 1 decrease, and then 1 single crochet. So now I have to insert my hook into the next stitch after the popcorn stitch, but this popcorn stitch is pretty bulky, so we just have to push it over to the side a little bit so that we can properly see the next stitch we have to insert into, and single crochet, and now decrease. Okay, and I'm just going to do the rest off camera. Okay, so I just crocheted 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, then 3 single crochet, 1 decrease, and now I'm just going to crochet the last single crochet. But before completing this single crochet, we're going to switch to black yarn and complete this stitch in the color black so that our next stitch, which is the second leg, can be in the color black. So now we're going to do a second 5 double crochet popcorn stitch. So we're going to yarn over, insert into the next stitch, and crochet a total of 5 double crochets. And before completing the 5th double crochet in the popcorn stitch, we're going to cut our black yarn and pull up our red yarn from earlier that we didn't cut and complete the 5th double crochet with red yarn. And now we're going to complete our popcorn stitch by inserting into the first and then into the loop of the last and pulling the loop through the first stitch. And now in the color red, we're going to crochet 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, 3 single crochet, 1 decrease, a total of 2 times, and then 2 single crochet. So I'm just going to push my popcorn stitch aside to see my next stitch a little more clearly. I'm going to crochet 1 single crochet and then 1 decrease. And now I'm just going to work the rest of this round off camera. Now we just finished the round with the legs, and this is what the legs look like. And now if we hold this up to our completed Santa, we can see that we're getting really close to being done. All we have left to do are a few simple decrease rounds where we're gonna be doing a total of 8 decreases in each round. And it's just gonna look like this. And since these rounds are pretty simple, I'm just gonna work most of them off camera. Also, we have to make sure to stuff our Santa before this hole at the bottom gets too small. I just finished round 31, so now I'm going to cut my yarn, fasten off, and now in order to close this hole at the bottom, we are going to take our tail yarn, thread it through a darning needle, and now we're going to weave our tail yarn here through the front loop of every single stitch in round 31. So I'm just going to weave it through the front loop only of each stitch in round 31, so a total of 8 stitches. And once we've weaved through every single stitch in the round, we're going to take our yarn and we're going to pull until the hole closes. And then we're just going to tie a knot to finish, and then weave in the end. And now we're just gonna weave in these few loose ends that we have. And now that the ends have been weaved in, we're gonna embroider the nose and the belt buckle. First, we're gonna do the nose. So we're gonna take our skin tone yarn and cut a piece of the skin tone yarn, thread it through a darning needle. And now we wanna embroider the nose between round 19 and round 20 and over 2.5 stitches. So from here to here. The half stitch is necessary, otherwise it'll look a little off. And the way that I like to do my embroidery is I like to start from the back and exit my needle through the front. And you'll see why in just a moment. So first we're just gonna embroider our nose. So we're gonna embroider a total of 3 loops for our nose. And 2 loops. And now for the 3rd loop, instead of inserting it in here and exiting through here, we're just gonna insert in here. And now we're gonna exit our needle through the same hole that we first inserted into. And now with both ends in the back here, we're gonna take them and we're gonna tie a knot with them. Slightly tight, we don't wanna overdo it, but we want it to be kind of tight. And once we've tied a knot, we're going to thread both ends through a darning needle. And now we're gonna insert our needle into the same hole that both ends are coming out of. So we're gonna insert into the same hole, and now we're just going to darn in our ends. And when we do this, our knot just disappears. And that's how we do a seamless embroidery. And now we're gonna embroider the buckle. So we're gonna embroider the buckle over 1 stitch along the belt right here. And we wanna make sure it's centered between both legs and the eyes. I just embroidered the little buckle onto the belt, and I embroidered it the same way that I did the nose. So I have my 2 ends at the back here. So I'm just gonna tie a knot with them and darn them in, and then I will be done all of the embroidery. Just so you know, what I'm about to do next is completely optional. I like to finish off my Santa by gluing down the arms. I just prefer how it looks with the arms right up against the body, but it still looks cute having them up like this. So gluing them down isn't necessary because yeah, they still look cute like this, but this is just personal preference and I prefer to have them down like this. So that's what we're gonna do now. We are going to glue them down with some fabric glue. So I just got this fabric glue from Michael's, my local craft store. So when gluing the arms down, I don't put a lot of glue. I just add a tiny little droplet of glue right under the base of the arm. And then I just press the arm down. And then I place a pin into the arm and pin it down onto the body, so that it stays like this until the glue dries. I'm gonna do that to the other side. So just a little droplet of glue. Oops. And when placing the glue, I make sure not to place it too far down on the arm because I still like the arms to stick out a little bit at the end. I just want the very top of the arm to be glued down onto the body. So yeah, that's how I do it. And now we're gonna wait for the glue to dry. Once the glue dries, I'm gonna take out the pins and then we will be done. We finished the Santa. I hope you guys enjoyed this pattern. I love this no-sew Santa. I first created this pattern last year, but it wasn't no-sew at the time. I only decided to make it no-sew like a month ago because I wanted to make one of my Santas, but I really didn't want to have to do all the sewing required for my original pattern. So yeah, I just altered a few things to make it no-sew, and I love it so much. If you guys have any questions or concerns, please feel free to ask your questions or mention your concerns in the comments. And let me know if you guys like the format of this tutorial. I tried something a little different this time compared to what I usually do. So yeah, hopefully you guys liked it, but I'm going to go now since the tutorial is over. But thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you in one of my next videos. Bye!